but I guess I want to explain where my perspective
Go
comes
ahead.
from first. So, I grew up in Atlanta. Went to Lakeside High School right off Briarcliff Road. Went to Georgia State. Kind of did the whole shebang downtown. Studied public policy and economic development. Immediately kind of got involved with the neighborhood planning unit. So a lot of these conversations are similar to the monthly updates we get from whoever the old Zone 6 and Zone 5 people are. And so I've heard similar things like this since that was like 2017, 16-ish. And then I've also worked for Central Atlanta Progress and ADID, so I've sat in those conversations and sat in the room where, similar like this, a lot of police and things like that. And I guess it kind of brings me to where I'm at today. And this is really encouraging, honestly, for me. It's like a mixed person. I will openly admit, I still get kind of flutters in my heart sometimes when police are behind me. I mean, the PTSD from the last 3 years.
We just had this conversation when we walked in the door.
Yeah,
They didn't know that we were police officers and we were having this same conversation. So,
yeah. So I think my question is, where does a conversation happen in the city of Atlanta between kind of urban planners and kind of, let's see, how do I put it? I feel like when we say how do we stop crime, we're not acknowledging that a lot of crime is socioeconomic. It's a lot of mental, but it's that when I'm exiting an exit, why don't I see white water boys? But the water boys are the poster boy for news right now of like, how the hell do we get them off the street, right? What circumstances are young black kids going through from an urban planning standpoint to education standpoint, right? Like, these people that build jails, they aren't just building jails in the middle of nowhere. They look at statistics and things that show them where to gauge to build jails. So my question is, where is the interagency within the city of Atlanta? Is there interagency collaboration between the MPU system, where people are more boots on the ground, local community, all the way up to Sheriff Labatt, and understanding like, if you're just a bored 17-year-old black kid in Atlanta and all you have is one park and you can't go to it because it's occupied, and you don't want to go do homework, because I've been there. I mean, your options for, sorry, I was going to cuss. There's my options for things to do. Crime slowly but surely creeps in. And then you're listening to rap music. You're looking at all this other stuff. Commercialized Instagram. All it makes you want to do is get a Nike shoe. And you don't have the finances to do it. But it's all that America puts in your face. So if there's not a conversation in the city of Atlanta between urban planning and MPU and the sheriff's office, to stop crime, you gotta understand why people commit crime in the first place. And there are bad apples, right? Not everybody's a good person, but when is the city of Atlanta, us, like this room, when are we gonna look at each other, right, and be like, when are we gonna stop putting these kids in the position to commit crime? Or when are we gonna alleviate the symptoms where we can tell, oh snap, this community is very crime prone. It's not a freaking accident, sorry. It's not an accident, right? Like, this is all stats. This is all business. So if there's not, I don't know how I could be involved or anything, but I think the answer is, if crime's gonna get stopped, you gotta understand why it's happening. And
people like you gotta step up and say that, and be brought to the table to be able to say that. Because what you just acknowledged is, in 2008, when the housing market crashed, the first thing they did away with was the after-school programs. If you go by any ball field around here, you're not gonna see no kids out there playing baseball, football, nothing. You're gonna see some boys gambling, smoking weed, doing whatever. And so I was always taught that an idle mind is a devil's workshop. So you just pretty much gave the poster child of that. A kid sitting at home doing this, looking at Instagram, everybody shining, and then he say, I'm gonna go break in the car. And then once he break in the car, he might get a gun. And then once he get a gun, he might become a stick-up kid. Then once he become a stick-up kid, he become a carjacker. Once he carjacks somebody, sometimes somebody gonna fight back, and then he become a killer. That's the progression of a kid in Atlanta with nothing to do. Everybody can't play sports. We gotta have programs in place to keep their mind